We live in a culture that glorifies the hustle, where rest feels like weakness and success is measured by exhaustion. But here's the truth: not all work looks the same. Hi, my friend. Welcome to the Bounce Back Black Woman podcast. I'm Dell, and I've overcome some of the most devastating heartbreaks I could ever have imagined. Do you find yourself stuck in sadness after a broken heart, asking God, why me? Well, I'm here to help women just like you heal and build the resilience to overcome life's greatest hurts. If you long for joy and confidence again, this podcast is for you. So grab your headphones and those heartbreaks. Let's talk. Hey there, my friend. It's Coach Dell. Welcome back to Bounce Back Black Woman. I want to let you know that this episode is for the woman who feels guilty for slowing down, for the woman who's been carrying it all and maybe forgot that she matters too, and for the woman who might just feel exhausted from trying to do it all. Friend, I've been traveling. I've been enjoying time away with my family, my grandbabies, and just in a new space. I've been out of my routine, and to be honest, I haven't even been sleeping great. And now I'm recording since returning from out of town, out of rhythm, and honestly, a little out of it. But I felt led to turn the mic on today. Not because I had to. You would have survived if the episode was a day late. But because the idea of rest has been speaking to me in a new way lately. A way that it really never has my whole life. This episode isn't coming from a place of pressure. Just know that. It's coming from pause. So if you've been needing permission to slow down, if you've been needing permission to unplug, to breathe, let this be it. Today we're talking about rest and unplugging and about stepping back. Not just because you're tired, but because you are allowed. You are allowed, friend. So let's talk about why taking off time isn't a luxury. It's part of your healing. As I said, I've been off my usual rhythm this week. Sleeping in a different bed, waking up at different hours, sometimes forgetting what day it is. And normally I'd be scrambling to catch up on everything. On episodes, on content, on checklists, on cleaning. But you know what? I gave myself permission to let go a little. I came in from the airport and I just rested. And what came to me in that stillness was this. Sometimes what you really need isn't a plan. It's presence. It's laughter. It's sunlight. It's a nap with no alarm set. A meal you didn't cook. A day with no expectations. Spontaneity. Breath mixed with laughter. And why? Because rest heals in ways that productivity never can. So let's take a minute and talk about the word work. I know sometimes that word can strike a nerve on Sunday nights. I know it did for me for a long time. We live in a culture that glorifies the hustle, where rest feels like weakness and success is measured by exhaustion. But here's the truth. Not all work looks the same. Sometimes work is raising a child without support. Sometimes it's sitting in a hospital waiting room for hours on end. Sometimes it's being the one your whole family turns to when something falls apart, even when you are quietly falling apart too. Sometimes work is brushing your teeth after crying all night. It's showing up to your job with a broken heart. Maybe it's saying no to someone you love because you're choosing yourself for the very first time. It doesn't always come with a checklist, my friend, and it doesn't always earn a paycheck. But make no mistake, it costs you something. And anything that costs you time, energy, or emotional bandwidth, that's work. That's work. And sometimes the hardest work of all is giving yourself permission not to do it all. And that's why I wanted to record this episode, even though I'm tired. Because rest doesn't always feel accessible when you've spent your whole life being the one who shows up. And that's what I chose today on purpose, to show up. But hear me, you don't have to earn rest. You already qualify for it because you're human. And don't worry, you best believe that as soon as this episode is recorded and in the books, I am resting, friend. I am resting big. So let's bring this all the way back. Because like I said, rest isn't just something that we need. It's also something that God modeled. In Genesis 2:2 of the New Living Translation, it reads this: On the seventh day, God had finished his work of creation, so he rested from all his work. Let that settle in. God, the creator of the entire universe, rested. And he rested not because he was tired, but because rest is part of the rhythm. It's part of the rhythm, my friend. Creation, then stillness, work, and then wonder. And that includes your creation and your work, followed by your stillness and your wonder. So if God made a space for rest, why do we act like we have to earn it? Even Jesus, in the thick of his ministry, with people crowding around and needs piling up, said this in Mark 6:31. Then Jesus said, "Let's go off by ourselves to a quiet place and rest a while." Friend, if Jesus needed space to breathe, so do you. He didn't shame the disciples for needing a break. He led them there. So maybe it's time that you follow that same lead. So let's talk about why resting can sometimes feel selfish or lazy. That's because you've been conditioned to believe that your value is tied to what you do, what you produce, what you complete, what you accomplish. But if you're constantly in motion, constantly giving, constantly on, when do you get to receive? And that guilt that you feel when you finally stop, that's not the voice of God. That's the echo of old expectations. So, here's what I want you to do, my friend. I want you to be like Frozen and let it go. And yes, I say that all the time because that's the line from Frozen, right? Let it go. So I want you to pause for a minute and I want you to take this in and sit with it. If you only had 1 week left to live, how would your idea of work change? How fast would it change? In what ways would it change? Because I'd be willing to bet that it would change. Would you still be pushing through that inbox? Would you still be ignoring your need for joy? Would you still be waiting on that someday? I ask that because I've lived it. Many of you may know that I lost my second husband without warning. In a split second, everything in my life and his changed. So let me tell you, in that moment, The only things that mattered were presence, love, and connection. Nothing else mattered. Nothing else came to mind. So, friend, if you've been running on autopilot, this is your permission slip to stop. I have a journal prompt for you. So let's sit with this. Where have I been measuring my worth by how much I do? And then I want you to ask yourself, what would it look like to give myself permission to rest without any guilt? And third, where might God be inviting me to pause, even for just a moment? Now, I've mentioned having a journal before, but I want you to have a dedicated journal just for these podcast episodes so that you can track how much you're growing and learning and evolving. And then you can look back and see how far you've come. If you don't have a dedicated journal, you can go to the website at bouncebackblackwoman.com and grab the companion journal for the podcast, but any journal will do. I want you to journal those prompts, and I would love for you to share what came up for you. And the place to share it, that would be the Bounce Back Black Woman Facebook community. If you're already part of it, I invite you to lean in this week, my friend, and share what came up for you with these journal prompts. If you've not joined the community yet, I invite you to do that because it's where we're creating space for real sisterhood, softness, reflection, encouragement, and soul-level truth. So if you haven't joined yet, I'd love to welcome you in. And trust me, you won't regret it. Now, here is what I want to leave you with from this episode, friend. Some affirmations, if you will, but they really are truth nuggets. You are not lazy. You are not behind. You are human, and humans need rest. So if this episode reminded you to take a deep breath, know that that brings me joy. I am glad that you pressed play today, my friend. And whether you're on the couch or on a beach somewhere, I hope you remember and hear my voice saying that you are allowed to rest. If you've not yet signed up for the weekly newsletter, you can also do that at the website, bouncebackblackwoman.com. Or you can use the direct link that'll be in the show notes in order to get that encouragement and reflection sent straight to your inbox. You won't regret it. So until next time, my friend, take the pause. You have earned it. Well, that's it for today, my friend. I really hope this episode inspired, encouraged, or just plain comforted you. If so, please share it with a friend who might be struggling in her own healing journey. And if you take a moment to leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts, you'll help other women find encouragement through their heartbreak. Remember that God is holding your hand along this journey. And guess what? I'm holding the other. Life is short, so bounce back, Black woman.